nearly 40 years, there's only been one place to win the most coveted prize in poker. But now there's a golden bracelet up for grabs in final table.
You gotta play the player, not the cards. You gotta exercise control. You gotta reach down deep into their mind. You gotta see inside their soul. You gotta hear what's on their headphones. You gotta tune into their top 10. Is it luck be a lady, the ace of spades, or won't get fooled again? You gotta pay attention to the geezer grinning like the Mona Lisa. Is he the joker in the pack? You gotta watch that dude doing nothing. He coulda, woulda, shoulda been a Buddha in black. You gotta keep an eye on the guy in the wraparound shades. What's behind that look? You gotta visualise his lizard eyes. You gotta read him like a book. You gotta ask yourself the right questions. You gotta sniff out sabotage. Why's his baseball cap on backwards? Why's he having a massage? Then when the dame in the game busts you out, she's got you beat and you've gone to the wall, you'll know that the song on her iPod is "The Winner Takes It All."
No rhyming couplets required. All the action is Robert Williamson III. Robert, who have you got your eyes on at our feature table?
Well, obviously there's some big names at this table. Kenny Tran, Theo Jorgensen, Magnus Persson. But my choice right now is the chip leader. She's using her chips very well, and that's Annette Obrestad, the 18-year-old teenage online sensation.
She has amassed over 900,000 chips.
And you know, sometimes online skills don't carry over to live, but in her case, she's kept that aggressiveness up as she opens with the 4-5 offsuit. That's pretty aggressive.
She's certainly getting rid of some better hands already. Van Zadelhoff won't like his 3-9. Jorgensen folds. Round to Magnus Persson, who has a Queen-Jack.
And Magnus also plays a lot online. I think he understands the type of game she plays, how aggressive, and that's why he's defending here more than any other reason. He's playing the player, not his cards.
Magnus checks his bottom two pairs.
And that's a great way to play against Annette. Use her aggression against herself.
True to form, she comes out firing. With the straight draw there, he might want to finish this now.
Absolutely. With a straight draw and a flush draw there, he's got to go ahead and raise it right here, right now.
Just a call.
Dangerous play.
8 puts another flush draw out there. He checks once more. And once again, Annette shows the tiger in her tank, pushes in a big stack of chips.
And she's definitely always going to take a lead at it, but you know, sometimes when you get a call on the flop, you got to back off.
Well, she'll certainly see some smoke coming through the woods now because he's called her second big bet.
Oh, and what a card, 4 to a straight on the board. Now he's got to be afraid of a million different hands. This is why he should have gone ahead and bet this hand, shown the strength on the flop. Now he's got to make a very tough call.
150,000 with a Broadway straight staring you in the face. Not easy.
And she was the original raiser. She could have a hand like ace-king or ace-queen. There's a lot of hands that beats him right now. This is a really tough call.
Good call.
And he makes it anyway.
What a big pot. Annette squandering a huge chunk of her chip lead.
Very nice call.
But that is the way this young Norwegian plays. She is fast and loose and absolutely fearless.
I was sure she wasn't even 18. I wanted somebody in that floorman to say, well, how did she get in?
Everything I heard is true.
She doesn't rattle.
Because I think she's the sort of girl that will make you put your tournament life on the line all the time.
Yeah, she's very aggressive, of course, and she always put the pressure on.
Everybody was telling me about this girl. They said, you know, stay out of her way.
You know, you could have an 18-year-old bracelet winner, which I guess they weren't thinking that was going to happen.
Well, it hasn't happened yet, and she's taken a backward step, but still with a healthy stack of chips in front of her.
And she lays down the 8-4 suited, backing off of her aggressive stance she was taking earlier.
Kenny Tran gets rid of his rags. Van Zadelhoff does the same with Jack 9. We're round to Magnus Persson, and he's picked up aces.
On the button, too. You either want aces on the button or the blinds. That way you get maximum payoff because nobody thinks you could really have anything.
Well, he gave a big smile when he looked at his cards, but Abhishek Kaitan obviously didn't notice it because he's made the call. And he's done it with King 9. He's in a heap of woe.
Well, K9 is a dog of a hand.
Let's see whether he gets any help from these 3 cards. The answer to that is no. A runner flush draw is about the best he could hope for, and Persson comes out betting, and why not, with a set of aces.
And Kaitan is calling to try to set up a bluff, but unfortunately, he might be bluffing into the nuts.
Well, that does give him the diamond draw.
And now Kaitan leads at the pot. I have a feeling he's going to get played with, though. Person's going to at least call.
It's more than a call. It's a raise. Kaitan checks. He's got the nut flush draw. He moves all in. An immediate call from Magnus Persson.
Wow. Kaitan decides to try to push him off his hand, and Person's got 3 aces and says, I'm going to call him down.
He would got knocked out before me. He had 400,000, I have 90,000. He said no.
Kenny Tran amused at the boldness of Abhishek Kaitan, putting his tournament on the line with just a draw. Kaitan will be laughing if this comes down diamond-shaped. But it doesn't.
Wow. And just like that, Kaitan is out on a bluff. And Persson wins a huge pot.
Could be better, but he was on the button. I thought he's making a move. Called in, then I've got the nut flush draw. And I've put enough chips in, so let's see. Didn't work out.
So, one less player inside the Empire Casino, and another one putting his tournament life on the line against John Tabatabai is Irishman Pat Scanlon. He won his seat here in a pub game, and it may be last orders, although he's marginally in front with his ace-3 against the Welshman's Jack-10. The flop brings a jack. That's bad for Scanlon. It turns an ace, that puts him back in front, but it gives his opponent a gut-shot straight draw. He needs to dodge a Jack, 10 or Queen on the river. And he's done it. He's still chasing the pot of gold. Also still in the hunt for riches, the players at our feature table. Dominic Kay folds the Queen 10. And it is wired 7s for Annette Obrestad.
I think that might bring her aggression back out. Might see her come out.
Yeah, she didn't stay in her shell for long. And now William Durkee has got a pair of crabs. Makes the call.
So that's the great thing about playing lots of hands. You get paid off when you actually have real hands.
And one of our short stack players, it is Kenny Tran. He's picked up the big slick. I think he'd be calling in the movers here. And he says all in.
And that's what you want to be with ace-king. You want to be the raiser, not the caller.
I'm all in.
Annette goes all in over the top. She wanted to isolate Kenny Tran, and that, of course, gets rid of Durkee's small pair. The cards will go over, and we'll see that we are in a race. Kenny can't have hoped for much better than that.
And his tournament life is on the line, and looky right there. So far, so good.
It's the king, way in front now. Obrestad can't even draw to hearts because Kenny has the ace, so she'll need to hit a 7 or running cards for a straight.
And oh, there's the 7 right there. And now Kenny Tran's drawing dead.
Annette permits herself a smile. She's got rid of one of the dangerous players on the table.
And wins a nice pile of chips as well.
Kenny looks as though he's sucked a lemon.
I try to be really aggressive and, catch some bad break here and there, and that's why I come in today with short stack. But I still feel very confident with my game going to today. It just, this thing not happen.
It may not be happening for our short stack, Carl Marenholtz, either, but the good news is he's all in and way ahead in this hand against Øyvind Riisum of Norway. Riisum needs to catch one of the 3 8s in the deck to win this one. Looking at his face, you'd think Marenholtz was losing. Here comes the turn. And now he is losing. He'll need to catch a 9 or a king to get away from this. And the river does its dirty work. He leaves us in 15th place. Riisum gets his chips, but at least Marenholtz has £38,000 to cheer him up.
Obviously now it's a bit painful. I'm really disappointed, but overall, I guess, with the strength of the fields, I'm happy to make this far, and I'm happy with the way I played. I showed that I'm capable of maybe next time making it a bit further.
14 players left. All the top 7 have over 500,000 chips, and they are mostly Scandinavian. James Keyes of England is our short stack. Blinds and antes in the middle. That is a pretty impressive stack in there already. 9-10 suited for Van Zadelhoff. Not bad cards in late position, but he didn't fancy them there. A Doyle Brunson hand for Dominic Kay. The Englishman decides not to play it. And once again, Annette looks down and she's got a pocket pair.
Well, 2 3s isn't a hand you want to get too frisky with. You either raise it, try to take it down right here, or limp and hope to flop a set.
She has gone for the raising option, as you'd expect from such an aggressive player. She's going to get a call from Johannes Corsair. The Swede has picked up pocket queens.
Well, she might get a raise. If I wake up with 2 queens right there, I'm going to re-hit it.
And that is exactly what happens.
And because of her aggressive image, now she has to decide whether to defend or not.
I'm all in.
And she did more than defend. Wow! She pushed all in. And she's got Corsair covered. This is a tough call for him.
I call.
And he makes the call.
Annette, not a happy bunny. She was hoping to frighten the Swede off. It hasn't worked out. Corsair can barely look.
And this is the biggest pot of the tournament up till now. What a huge spot, and Obrestad is in trouble.
Now she's in real trouble. Set of queens. She's going to need running 3s. No backdoor flush because he has the queen of clubs.
Backdoor straight possibility, but otherwise, going to get a double up to Corsair. That shuts the door. She's drawing dead.
Well, they both make a flush in the end, but Corsair's bigger with the queen.
And sometimes aggression doesn't pay.
Chip, 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 chip. A chorus of kaleidoscopic crickets, the clatter and the chatter of the chip, flipping through fluttering fingers, twisting, twirling, butterfly beat, rolling ricochets across the bays and stacked up neat, 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 in pint-sized Parthenon pillars, pocket handkerchief pyramids of Giza, Cleopatra's itsy-witsy needles, leaning teeny-weeny towers of Pisa, elfin Eiffel towers, baby Blackpool towers, tiny towers of the Golden Gate, piled high with a little Lucky Charm atop, like Godzilla on the Empire State, a bijou Xanadu built on felt, a one-eyed Royals Versailles, a multicoloured mini Manhattan reaching for the sky. Until the ante is upped and you're all in. When the chips come a-tumbling down, then you've had your chips. It's goodbye, Mr. Chips. Get on your horse and get out of town.
Hoping not to require the use of a horse to get out of here in the next minute or so is James Keys. He's all in with wired sevens against Irishman Pat Scanlon's overcards. Keys is a marginal favourite here. And the flop brings his price down. A 4 on the turn means Scanlon only has 6 outs now. And a river deuce keeps Keys in the race for £1 million. Back to our feature table. Tickets being printed, and Magnus Persson in a luminously pink shirt looks down at some pretty horrid cards, gets rid of them. Dominic Kay, a little bit better, he's got pocket sevens.
And he brings it in for a raise.
William Durkee gets rid of his rag king. And Zadelhoff folds. Theo Jorgensen has been fairly quiet since he's had the TV cameras in his face, but he makes the call.
And he decides to thin from the big blind. And Jorgensen flops an open-end straight draw. And 2 scary overcards for Kay.
Kay is in position on the Scandinavian. Jorgensen checks. And the action will be on the Englishman. Chips go in. But not enough to scare Jorgensen off his draw.
Now that makes it a little more interesting. Does Jorgensen take a stab at it now and try to scare Kay off his hand? Or does he check, call? This is a tough spot for him. I think I'd have to lead at this pot and try to take it right there.
He has done just that. And will those overcards petrify Dominic Kay?
How much you got back?
It looks like to me that Jorgensen would just about have to have a 9 to make this bet. If I'm Kay right here, I'm scared to death that my opponent's got a 9 or maybe even a queen.
Big bet, man. Very big bet.
He's putting the hand and the way it's being played through the mental ringer.
And I like the way Theo Jorgensen has played this hand. He's put his opponent to a decision here for a big amount. I like the aggression.
No clues from Jorgensen's face, tucked underneath that cap.
One time I'll let you bluff me, okay? One time. Okay. Take it.
And it works. My daddy always said, if you can't lay down, you can't sleep.
Okay.
The stakes are getting high now, and you need the luck too. But I feel confident because I've been playing with some of these guys for a while now. If I see some of them slowing down because they really want to get out of the final table, I will definitely speed up a lot. But right now, the plan is to slow down a little because I've been caught for speeding a couple of times. I'm really not into whether I get to final table or I bust out on 10th place. It doesn't really matter. I just look at the money. And for me, the bracelet and the money matters.
Pat Scanlon in a bad spot here. His ace-7 against Gus Hansen's aces. And that 7 on the turn gets him to push all in. Gus's loose style means he can get a hand like this paid off. And he pushes in the call to show the Irishman what bad shape he's in. Well, 7s are supposed to be lucky. The Irish are supposed to be lucky. Surely he can't. Nope, that 10 sends Scanlon home after a great tournament.
My chips were getting very low at about 200,000, so really I had to do something. And he trapped me and I hit my pair, so I went all in. That's the end of it.
Not the end yet for any of the players on our feature table, but as we've seen before, it can happen quickly. The button is on Steve van Zadelhoff. Annette Obrestad stares down at trash. And we're on to William Durkee. Ace-Jack for the college wrestler from the United States.
And that's definitely worth opening this pot up for. He's come in for a raise.
Theo Jorgensen of Denmark in the small blind. May wish to defend it with Queen 10 offsuit. And just Magnus Persson in the big blind left to act. He folds.
And we're on to the flop. And both players catch a piece of this flop. Durkee still in the lead. Jorgensen shouldn't get in too much trouble here with middle pair.
That ace out there will be a scare card for him.
Especially because normally when people raise pre-flop, they do have an ace in their hand. Many, many times. So Jorgensen's got to be afraid of that for sure.
Jorgensen obviously feeling in an optimistic frame of mind, makes the call.
Now that's actually a really bad card for Jorgensen, not only because it gives Durkee 3 aces, but now there's only 2 more aces out there. It makes him think, my opponent does not have that other ace.
Pot nearly 200,000, and Durkee says, I'm all in.
Well, that's especially confusing because now by pushing all in, he's shown weakness, not strength, and Jorgensen might fall for this.
And he does!
And if I'm in Jorgensen's spot here, I might have made the same mistake. Durkee could have easily been on a weaker queen or a flush draw, and then I have him in bad shape. Tough break for Jorgensen. Well played by Durkee.
As we can see, this one already over. Well, he would have made the flush if he was on that draw.
Just for good measure, I would have been beat regardless.
I think the poker gods are trying to tell you something, Robert.
And whenever I'm playing a tournament, I always wake up in the morning to get in, some kind of a workout, a run, a swim, whatever it is. Someone like Patrick Antonius, who's obviously a well-established pro and has a background in professional tennis, he would agree that, staying physically fit helps your mental capabilities. Getting a workout in the morning really helps me clear my head before I come play and really just focus on the task at hand at the poker table.
Well, these blinds catching up with our players. But William Durkee has found a genuine hand, the big slick, but right next to him, Johannes Korsar, the Scandinavian's got pocket jacks.
And this is what you wait for all day, is hand against hand. Now we'll see who outplays the other one or who gets luckier.
He could re-raise with these jacks.
Absolutely could. Very legitimate re-raise at this point. Especially considering the stack sizes. Korsar having Durkee covered.
Magnus Persson looks down at a suited Jack 10, but he can see which way the wind's blowing. And does Durkee re-raise again?
Yeah, if I'm Durkee here, I want to see all 5 cards. I move it in, try to push my opponent off, just in case he's got 8s, 9s, 10s. And who knows, your opponent could lay down jacks in this spot. I'm going to give him a chance to.
And he has stoked it up, nearly $500,000 in the middle.
And now he's put Corsard to a decision. This is true poker. Just like Doyle Brunson said, you got to put a man to a decision for all his chips. In this case, just a majority of them.
I'm all in.
I call.
All in and a very quick call. This is the classic Hold'em situation. The overcards against the pair.
And this is what it takes to win tournaments. You have to win these coin tosses. Unfortunately, you only win them half the time.
Well, we're about to see somebody get lucky and somebody get unlucky. And it is going to have grave consequences for one of their bank accounts. Which of these very young men is going to come out on top?
And a jack right in the window. Oh, Durkee's got to hate that. Now he needs runner. Going to have a heart or a straight card, or he's going to be out of this tournament.
It is a heart.
The door is open.
So any heart except the 8.
And now let's see if they'll hear Durkee knocking.
8 outs, and he can't hit one of them. And our young wrestler has been submitted by Johannes Corsard. He's out.
When you get to this point, you're playing to win the event or get into the top 3. So, going out 12th it really wouldn't have been much different than going out 8th or 9th for me.
12 players left. Magnus Persson on top. John Tabatabai, the lone Brit among the Scandinavians. But look how Annette Obrestad has let things slip. She's one of the short stacks. Johannes Corsard counting his winnings. But the cards wait for no man.
No sweeter feeling than having to take your time counting chips, piling them up.
Well, looking down at Ace-Jack on the button, also a pretty sweet feeling for young Magnus Persson. Dominic Kay has got rags and gets rid of them. And we're round to Annette Obrestad in the big blind, who's also got a big ace, a suited ace 10, and she says all in.
And in her spot, I don't blame her. Put the decision back on Persson. If he doesn't have a real hand, win this pot right here. But unfortunately for Annette, Persson has plenty of chips and he can spare this if he wants to. Still a tough call. Ace-Jack is not a great hand. Most of the time you're going to be dominated or you're going to be in a coin toss. So Ace-Jack, tough spot for Persson. I might lay this down myself.
Well, these young players have absolutely no fear.
And he calls. He reasoned it out that Obrestad could be out of line here, and she was, and now she's in a dominated situation, and she's going to have to get lucky, or her tournament is over.
Here comes the flop, 5 of diamonds, deuce of diamonds.
Oh, gosh. Right as you make this great call, you really think you made this great call, and now he needs a jack. Wow, he's got to have just a jack and a jack only, or else Annette Obrestad is going to double up.
And she has done. Got to feel a certain amount of sympathy for Magnus Persson. He made a great call, but Annette just outflopped him.
Better lucky than good, huh?
And it's even better to be lucky and good.
Suck out. You'll keep this one clean, so.
Suck out.
When somebody takes the worst hand against you and beats you with it.
You're extreme underdog to win the pot and somehow you get lucky, which I never do. I'm just that good. I never suck out.
I hate it when someone sucks out.
No truer words to form. Phil Hellmuth hates when people suck out on him.
And I believe he does let them know occasionally.
He might even toss a chair.
Big cards here for Annette Obrestad.
And now, because she's played so many hands and because she's really built up this loose image, she's liable to get some action, even though she's got a real hand.
Johannes Corsard gets out of the way. And Steve Van Zadelhoff can't like his 8-4, even to Annette's bet. Magnus Persson is in the small blind, and he seeks to defend it.
And this is one small blind I don't think I would like to defend. He's got a weak hand, Jack-8 suited. He's out of position the whole hand, and he's against the most aggressive player at the table, Obrestad.
Yes, he's putting his head in the crocodile's mouth, but look at that, something for everybody. Persson makes the flush draw, and it's top pair for Annette.
And this is big trouble in Little China for Persson. Obrestad's not going to let this hand go easy. She's got top pair and top kicker. All the same, I think he's going to give it the college try and check razor here, try to move her immediately, but he's not going to like what he sees. Well, he just flat calls.
Wants to see a cheap card and hope it's a diamond. It isn't.
Even worse, now he has a pair to go with his flush draw. He checks to her, and this time surely he's going to pull the trigger.
But Annette checks. She doesn't give him the chance.
Wow, what a check there. I don't think I could have checked that and given a free card, but I know she was trying to control the size of the pot, and lucky for her, she didn't bet the turn. She might get out of this fairly unscathed.
Persson now fairly sure he's got the best hand. He's right, and he's now wondering how much money can I extract from this aggressive young Norwegian lady.
And because of such a coordinated board, he's probably not going to get too big a payoff here. He's just got to bet just enough to get her to call. 3 to a flush, 3 to a straight, 3 big cards. She only has 1 pair. The old axiom in poker is don't go broke with 1 pair, and we'll see if Annette Obrestad sticks to that. Wow, and she folds the hand altogether. That was an unbelievable reach. She must have put him on a flush draw to begin with.
She did not waste a chip, and that is a very impressive laydown. A potential banana skin for Tino Lashish here. He's standing up, and his 2 nines are behind to the 2 jacks of Oyvind Rissum. Rissum bets.
How much? Cool. I said settle down. All right, let's go. Wait, before it comes, whatever comes, I'm going to check blind after he ends.
And that blind check is binding.
If he checks, I check.
Promises, promises.
Did he do anything? I'm not going to look. I'm going to check blind. Did he check?
Yeah, check.
Oh, damn, is that spades? I've got to look if I've got a spade.
No, Lashish, you don't have a spade.
Pair of 9s. Good hand.
Plenty of mind games, but it didn't help Lashish win the hand.
They don't know what to do well. Seriously, they have a hand, they check it down. They get so much more adrenaline pumping through the body when they win a putt on the block. They want to win it on the block. That's how it worked with the Swedes. It's sick.
Bit of Scandinavian needle there from the Dane Theo Jorgensen, saying that Swedes are sick and aggressive.
And sick for being that aggressive.
Fairly passive call with the 8-7, and now we're round to a Swede, young Magnus Persson.
We'll see if he starts to feel a little froggy from that jab by Jorgensen.
He's got a suited ace, and he is making a raise.
He has to after the comment.
Dominic Kay of England, with pocket 9s, makes the call.
I like that. He's in position. Good hand to call with.
Dominic calls.
King Jack for Annette. She also calls.
Another good call.
And Corsar makes it 5 with his 6s.
I call a pot. We're down to 11 players after this hand.
And that flop brings a little something for everyone except Annette Obrestad.
She checks, Johannes checks, and we're round to Theo Jorgensen, who's picked up top pair and a gut shot draw.
And he leads at the pot, appropriately so.
Magnus Persson has the nut flush draw.
And a pair.
And he makes a big re-raise.
And I don't blame him.
Already a lot of money in this pot. He wants to try and take it down now.
Now this is a tough decision for Kay.
He has an overpair, but he's seen a bet and a re-raise. He will not like the look of those diamonds. And he knows there are plenty of aggressive players waiting to act still.
And with 4 other opponents in this pot, if I'm K, I'm going to wait for another bust to come by. I'm not going to hop aboard this one. It's a dangerous spot.
You're squeezing, man. You're squeezing.
I'm squeezing it? Him.
30 seconds remaining.
I don't understand it. Whatever.
Tricky decision for Dominic K. He may have to lay these 9s down.
Get ace-8 or something.
Johannes Korsar speculating about Persson's hand. Persson still the picture of innocence, but he gets rid of Korsar, who had a gut shot and a pair.
If you can't beat this one, I'm gonna puke. When I see it on TV, I will find you and hunt you down and beat the crap out of you if you can't beat that one.
I hope they take this away then. It's not a big pot.
Just show it to me. I'm gonna see it anyway.
You've beaten overpair, you can tilt me even more. You show a bluff, I've gone overpair.
It's not a bluff.
Okay.
It should be a good hand.
What's up to you, whatever.
Yeah, that's it. Just for that, I'm gonna find you, hunt you down, and beat the living hell out of you.
The moment I look forward to the most every day is the dinner break now, because all my family and friends are there and we all go for a big meal. And every day after the dinner break, I've come back rejuvenated, revitalised, and I've always built my chip stack up after dinner. Whereas going into dinner break, I sag a little bit, I need food, and I can be a bit grouchy before I've eaten, so it's, I'm looking forward to getting something to eat now.
The eyes are the window to a poker player's soul.
Just don't want to give away anything.
And they can give your hand up if you're not careful.
If you're wearing the shades, they can't see which player you're looking at or what you're looking at specifically.
Can you see my eyes?
That's why I wear my sunglasses day and night.
They'll even come up to me during a break and talk about how surreal it is to play a hand of poker against me and have me staring at them with those glasses on.
The blinds now up, 6 and 12,000 with a running ante of 2,000. Plenty of shrapnel in the middle of the bays, even before a card gets dealt. And it's Johannes Korsar staring down at his cards and getting rid of them. Round to Stephen van Zadelhoff, who has rags.
And he's been relatively quiet at this table.
Maybe waiting for a big hand, and here is one. Ace-9 at a short-handed table. Certainly worth raising with.
When you're down to 6 players, any ace is worth opening with a raise, but not necessarily calling a raise, as we're going to find out right here.
What will Magnus do with the bird hunter's hand, the bullet and the duck? He gets rid of it. But a pair of 6s for Dominic K. We've seen him lay down 9s.
Well, he did that after the flop. I have a feeling he's going to see another flop, and he does. Now, this might price a net. Well, it might not a price her in. Deuce 7 offsuit.
Wow, this is a staggering move. She's re-raising with the worst hand in Texas Hold'em, 7 deuce.
I wonder if she thinks there's a bonus for that right now. Wow. Well, you know, when you read weakness, you have to play back at it, and Annette Obrestad read weakness. And the irony of the situation is now K is under the squeeze play. Annette Obrestad has put the squeeze play on K. And I think he realizes it might be. But he only has 2 6s, and he's going to be out of position against an aggressive opponent with another big stack.
It's a tough decision for Dominic K. There's no way of knowing for him that he's way in front with the 6s, and he'll get nothing from Annette's impassive face.
She is definitely a stone and not giving anything up at all. And that's what we call power poker. Well done, Annette Obrestad.
On our other table, Oyvind Rissam and Tino Lashish are at it again, only this time Lashish is all in and his ace-7 is trailing 2 pocket kings. The flop brings a 7.
I got extra. Diamond.
That jack means it has to be an ace or a 7 to keep the Aussie in the tournament.
Tino's going to need an ace or a 7 here. Another king.
No, we lose Lashish. Reesum finishes the job and reaps the reward for his trip kings. The young Norwegian, well chipped now. And Tino heads downstairs to collect his winnings for coming 12th.
It's just tiring after like 4 or 5 days, and you're sort of beat and you get close. But look, I did a lot better than a lot of others, so I'm pretty pleased.
Just 11 left in the running. The button in front of Johannes Korsar, so it will be Magnus Persson to act first.
He looks down at the pocket jacks. Gotta love big pocket pairs, especially late in the tournament when every hand is so important.
King 10 for Johannes Korsar.
The reason why he's calling here is he's got position on Persson.
Well, he'd love those cards as well.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
And Steve van Zadelhoff, who hasn't played many hands, goes all in straight away with the big chick, ace-queen.
You know, that actually scares me if I'm Persson here. I know I've got 2 jacks, but Van Zadelhoff hasn't played 1 hand yet. And it doesn't scare Persson, though. He calls him right on down.
We're off to the races. The underpair against the overcards. Van Zadelhoff will need to hit an ace or a queen or some clubs. But instead it's a jack for Persson.
And this is a tough spot for Van Zadelhoff. Now he needs runner to stay in this tournament.
Only a straight can get him out of this.
10.
And the door's closed right there without even the river coming.
Wise, good luck.
Magnus Persson sends another one to the rail.
It's my first live cash in a big tournament. So that feels pretty good. Now I know I'm ready to conquer the world. And I don't mind becoming 11th. I mean, 10th would even be worse.
10th would be the final table bubble, and right now it is James Keys in most danger of missing out. Young Magnus Persson of Sweden leads. Obrestad has climbed the ladder again, but Gus Hansen still may be the one to fear. All 10 players remaining around this table. It's not yet the final table, though. And as they've sat down together, they'll have redrawn this. People will be sitting next to different players, and that may change the dynamics of the action. Theo Jorgensen, 10-3. Nothing changes what he was going to do with that. Throw it away. Magnus Persson with an even worse hand follows suit.
And now that we're playing with 10 players at this table, you can afford to play quite a bit tighter because hand values go way down again, just like before.
John Tabatabai. He'll rip his cards. It seems that everybody's got rubbish. Annette, of course, one of the few players at the table, rather enjoys playing rubbish. We've seen her get busy with 7 deuce, so 8-4. It must look like aces.
The main thing was it was folded around to her, and she's not going to let those blinds and those antes sit out there unbothered. Uh-oh, but now she's going to have to compete for this money.
Matt McCulloch of the USA has woken up with pocket kings. He's in the small blind. How's he going to play this?
I say he's going to have to re-raise it, try to get her to commit some chips pre-flop. That way he might really win a big pot after the flop.
Gus Hansen in the big blind has got a pair of queens.
Oh, it's a bad spot to wake up with queens. It looks like Gus Hansen could be in real trouble here.
He has over 500,000 chips.
I got 586.
And with that, he waves his chips forward into the pot. 2 queens. I can't say that I blame him, but he's not going to like what he sees in McCulloch's hands.
No way on God's green creation that McCulloch can fold the kings.
Not in this lifetime. Even though he sure is taking his time.
Obviously only one hand he's worried about.
And now he's got to figure out if Gus Hansen could possibly have.
I call.
Oh!
It turns out he was just waiting for a net and he was having a daydream. Well, he'll love the dream he sees in front of him now. Gus hurls his queens in contemptuously.
And Gus had to think he had the best hand when it took McCulloch so long to call him. Oh, brutal. A slow roll before the flop even comes down.
Flop is Jack of Hearts, 9 of Hearts, Ace of Diamonds. He's the best hand.
Gus still way behind. He has picked up a runner straight draw. Not anymore. Now it has to be one of the two remaining queens.
And after all this, Gus Hansen's tournament life on the line with 2 cards in the deck to save him.
And that's not one of them. Astonishing. We lose perhaps the favourite of the last 10 players, Gus Hansen, out in 10th. And Matthew McCulloch of the USA scoops a pot with over 1 million chips in it.
And the rest of the table has to breathe a sigh of relief that the Great Dane is gone.
I was kind of looking around trying to see what were people trying to do, just trying to get this day over with and just pretty much fold every hand unless they got a real premium hand, or what were they trying to do. And basically I think Matthew knocked me out. I think he was trying to last until tomorrow, but I guess he woke up with a couple of big hands, and maybe I should have paid more attention to that and maybe played slower on my part, but again, that's my style, and it really turned out bad this time.
We started day 6 with 17 players, but one by one, the axe has fallen. Now only 9 remain to take their place at the final table and the chance to win £1 million. Propelled by that bust out of Gus Hansen, Matthew McCulloch of the USA sits on top of a leaderboard, which contains 3 Brits, 2 Swedes, 2 Norwegians and a Dane. Every single one of them is on for a bumper payday, but it's that first prize that'll make one a poker superstar.
Obviously, I would have liked to be one of the last 9, but you can't win them all.
Join us next time on the World Series of Poker Europe presented by Betfair.com to see who's going to carry off the cash, the bracelet and the glory. Every poker player dreams of winning the trophy that counts. £1 million is going to set a few pulses racing. Here with me to monitor the excitement is top American pro Robert Williamson III. Robert, the average age of the players at this table is just 25. How are they going to cope with the pressure?
Well, the good news for them is their average IQ is really high. I think they're going to cope with this pressure just fine.
Pressure being applied by Magnus Persson from the button. He's raised, but James Keys, our short stack, says now or never and pushes in with Queen 10.
Well, he's decided to gamble here early with the short stack, but unfortunately he's attacked one of the big stacks.
And Persson with a genuine hand. He makes the call, and James Keys is fighting for his life.
2 live ones?
Yeah. They are alive and kicking. You have James Keys all in with the Queen.
Nice handshake there, but James is going to need to hit the Queen a 10 or straightening cards.
Keys definitely going to need some help here, and right off the bat, Persson hits an ace.
I think I might lose now.
And Keys recognizes he's in real trouble here.
Let's see the turn card.
But a 10 opens the door back up.
He'll need another 10 or any queen except the Queen of Clubs.
He cannot catch the Queen of Clubs. Queen of Clubs with Magnus.
Well, Hope's not just a town in Arkansas.
Let's see the river card. River card was the
Or
trade.
maybe it is.
James Keys smiling his way to 9th place. Not a bad little payday. I'm sure he'd love to stay, but everybody else very happy to see him go.
Fantastic, yeah. Once again, thanks to Betfair and World Series for putting on a great tournament for the players. They slowed it down. They gave us a day off, an extra day off, and some longer levels, and it's just been fantastic the whole way through.
Fantastic for Magnus Persson. He's stacking Keys' chips.
If there's going to be a big pot, I'm probably going to be nervous, but still, I know that if I make the right decision, there's not much more I can do. I'm probably going to play a bit more tight than I've done like the last 2 days early on. And if we get down to 6 or 7 players, and even shorter, and I'm still in, I'm going to play more aggressive.
So Magnus Persson's strategy at the final table is switching gears. He's planning on really mixing it up.
A promising hand to get involved with. He's found pocket 9s.
I hope I find something.
All right, Magnus raises it up.
And everybody looking to attack Persson. Matter of fact, I don't think they'd mind who they get a piece of as long as they get them.
John Tabatabai looks down at 5-6. Sees the smiling face of Magnus across the table. And sees something he doesn't like about it. And it looks as though he's going to attack. Just a call.
Wow, 5-6 offsuit. Some action early here at the final table. And Annette Obrestad with the king-queen suited. Getting the right price here to see a flop.
Dominic Kay throws his cards away. Action around to Matthew McCulloch, who's picked up a suited ace-7.
Are you confident now I'm forced to do it?
He may feel like he's priced in too now.
And Theo Jorgensen
I might be forced to do
says
something.
he's priced in.
What about me?
He makes the call. So we're 5-handed to the flop.
Calling stations.
5 players in. Let's see a flop.
8-3-4 in the middle. McCulloch checks. Jorgensen has top pair. He checks too. And Persson with the overpair. He was the initial raiser. Sticks some more money in. Tabatabai has picked up an up and down straight draw. He'd need a 7 or a deuce.
And he makes the call.
Nothing for McCulloch. He abandoned ship.
And a little tougher decision for Jorgensen with top pair. And he wisely lays it down.
So now we're 2. Persson against Tabatabai. And Tabatabai has just made a straight.
Well, that was a very good card for Tabatabai for sure.
Persson now drawing dead. But can Tabatabai manage to get paid off?
A person with an overpair here might end up losing some chips in this pot. I don't think he can get away from this. Definitely not here on the turn.
That is a call. And we're going to see a river card. The ace, well, that may save Persson some money.
400,000.
400,000 is the bet.
And with a bet that size, Persson's going to go into the tank, but with 4 to a straight, a flush draw, and an overcard now with an ace out there, Persson can save these chips.
You may think he was ahead until the river.
So many times in poker, you get a strong swimmer, and they get to the river, and they outswim you. And he calls! Oh, what a mistake!
Tabatabai shows the straight, and Persson sees that he's made a woeful misstep. Big cheers from the local British crowd for Tabatabai, and the Swede has just donated him a healthy stack of chips.
A tournament like this is much harder than the World Series, because here you had like 200, 250 of the best players in the world, and it wasn't diluted with, you know, a lot of amateurs or a lot of inexperienced players. So to win a tournament like this is in effect winning one of the hardest tournaments in the world. I mean, the biggest problem I'm going to have is there's an aggressive player to my left and there's a couple to my right, so I think this tournament could be quite quick.
Speaking of quick, Tabatabai with an early jump start.
Looking down at his cards, he sees 5-6 suited. Just made a low straight. Will he be tempted to get involved again?
Well, he thinks this might be his lucky hand, it looks like to me.
Makes the raise. And we're round to our other Englishman. And let's just say Dominic Kay is going nowhere. He's all in.
Dominators in the house.
Fast playing those aces. Not wanting anyone else along for the ride.
At least half of that fields I've played with in the majority of this tournament, and the word aggression comes to mind. However, in this tournament, I've found that the best way a lot of the time is just to be the one who sits back and waits for aces.
And Kay, a man of his word, following his own advice, waiting for aces. Now he's got them, and he's stuck all his chips in the middle.
Kay play acting, putting on his bag as if he's about to leave. He's trying to induce a call.
Have you got a pair? I tell you what, Dominic, I'll do whatever you decide. You choose. Tell me to call or fold, I'll do whichever. Honestly.
Honestly?
Yeah. No, seriously. You choose call or fold and I'll do that.
And Dominic Kay in the back of his mind saying, please call, please call. But he's not going to say a word because he doesn't want to give away the strength of his hand.
Good luck, mate.
I lied, I have got a pair. I did lie.
A poker player not telling the truth. The crowd like it, but Robert, I'm shocked.
Well, I think it's called bluffing. He didn't really lie. That's what I used to tell my mother anyway.
He is behind. Dominic is going to show the
Of course, Kay all in with the aces. His tournament life at risk. That's a healthy start for aces dominating the 5-6.
King of diamonds. The king of diamonds.
Asking for a diamond.
Is the
getting a club. Oh, and that is not only a straight draw and a flush draw, it's a straight flush draw for Tabatabai. The 4 of clubs would really squash those aces.
This is funny. Are we not having fun here?
Well, I guess that's a matter of opinion. Kay doesn't think this is funny at all.
Is the
well, he's smiling now. His aces have stood up.
Has to have a bit of relief after that terrible turn card.
Back on track.
It's worth a spin.
And the bag comes off.
I'm not supposed to tell the truth about my hand. You asked me if I had a pair. I lied.
I prefer it if you had aces anyway.
Yeah, I know, yeah. You don't want to see.
No, it's a joke. I'd rather you had ace king.
The Dominator's in the house again.
I would have hoped that these less experienced players would give more tilts, but I'm still hoping for Annette to get a brain damage again with a pair of threes or something like that. But the Swedes are playing very well, and that's a little disappointment. I would have hoped it would have been easier, but it doesn't look easy.
Jorgensen, a Dane, having a dig at his fellow Scandinavians, the Swedes. Let's see whether he can do the damage where it counts. And not a bad hand to start with. Pocket tens.
I think it's time for him to let his cards do the talking.
He makes a raise. And we have sailboats in front of Johannes Korsar. One of the Swedes Jorgensen would love to smack upside the head. He flat calls.
And I think that Jorgensen doesn't care who he gets the chips from. He just wants all their chips.
He may struggle to get some from Øyvind Rissum of Norway with just a Queen 7. Tabatabai has a hand he is going to invest in. The Kangaroos.
Yep, whenever you get this kind of a hand in this situation, you just lick your lips and hope to God nobody wakes up with aces.
He re-raises. That is enough to snuff out Annette's ambitions.
And this is tough for Jorgensen because he's seen Tabatabai play a 5-6 the last two hands.
I'm all in.
Oh, and he does go for it. I can't say that I blame him. He saw Tabatabai gamble early on, but this time he's ran into the real deal. And now Tabatabai has to figure out, is there any chance that Jorgensen has two aces? He's made a huge re-raise, and he's got enough chips to cover Tabatabai and knock him out of this tournament.
If you've got it, you've got it. I call.
Johnny likes to call here. Johnny turns over.
I'm way behind.
Jorgensen hears the cheer and sees that he is a 4-1 underdog. If he loses this, he'll still have a few chips, but there'll be something rotten in Denmark. Needs to hit a 10.
And no help on that flop whatsoever for Jorgensen.
Running diamonds no good to him because Tabatabai has the king. It has to be a 10. And now he's only got one card to hit it. Can he knock John Tabatabai out? He cannot. The crowd love it. Tabatabai, I'm sure, is smiling on the inside. And Jorgensen must be a broken man as he sees his chips disappear across the table.
And now Theo Jorgensen knows he's going to have to get real lucky to have any shot. But they do say a chip in a chair, that's all it takes.
Jorgensen still has his chair, definitely, but that is the sight of 2.25 million chips going across the bays to John Tabatabai. The Welshman is smiling. The Dane looks as though somebody's stolen his car and then run his dog over with it.
And Jorgensen's left with no choice but to hear these final two words over and over again, all in.
Cards being dealt again. As we know, Jorgensen will probably have to push with only two cards. First to act, Annette Obrestad, and she will give him some action. Ace-7 suited. Certainly good enough for Annette. It looks as though she's going to make a small raise here. $45,000 round to Dominic Kay. He has got pocket eights. He makes the call. Matthew McCulloch has got King 5 suited. He's in the small blind and decides to defend it. Out of position, Robert.
That's a pretty loose call right there, for sure.
Jorgensen has gone all in. Perhaps McCulloch was factoring that in, thinking he'd get extra value.
I like the defending there.
It's only a few chips to Annette, Dominic and Matthew. It's an automatic call now. From now on, all betting will be on the side and the chips on the table. Theo Jorgensen hopes will be going his way. The flop comes down and it hits everybody except Jorgensen. He really should be thinking of his goodbye speech now. Annette checks top pair. Dominic checks the overpair.
And everybody's trying to make sure that Jorgensen's eliminated right here.
Surely Kay has to bet now.
Oh, absolutely should have bet there.
Oh, and that's going to cost him. He could have taken this pot down, but now Annette Obrestad has made trip 7s. Dominic had a pair, he had a straight draw and a flush draw.
And now Kay's got to regret that check on the turn. He just made a bet right there.
Instead, he makes a crying call. Matthew McCulloch gets out of the way. Dominic shows his eights and sees what a blunder he made. But if he's feeling sick, think how poor Theo Jorgensen feels.
And the rest of the table feels pretty good to see Theo Jorgensen, one of the biggest names left at this table, on the rail.
Sorry about the Our oldest player has gone, but the damage was done in the previous hand when John Tabatabai shipwrecked him.
The tournament was going great and I was feeling pretty comfortable. Of course, there's a maniac like him, you have to have a lot of faith in your hand, and still I think it's the right play, and especially because he's been playing extremely aggressive, and you could put him on a lot of hands. And now it just sucks that he finally had a hand, most likely one of the first times.
With Jorgensen out, England's Dominic Kay is now the short stack. John Tabatabai rules the roost. He's opened up a gap of nearly 1 million chips. Seven players left at the table now.
And each one of them trying to give themselves a chance to win the £1 million first place prize.
Magnus Persson is going to take his chances with the pocket sevens.
Good opening raise with the middle pair.
To Johannes Korsar, who also has a pair. It is smaller though, fives. How aggressively does he wish to play this?
He just flat calls.
Oyvind folds from the button. Tabatabai has 7-3 and gets rid of it. But look at this. Annette Obrestad says all in with the jacks. Is that too big a bet for Persson or Corsa to mess with?
I think that Persson might feel like she's putting the squeeze play on Corser here.
I'm on it.
And he does go for it, makes the call. Now Corser doesn't have any choice but to muck these 2 fives, and he does.
Please don't have ace queen.
I don't have ace queen.
Good.
It's saying I don't want you to have a 50-50 shot. But you'll see the good news. She's a 4-1 favourite. As long as she can dodge a 7, she is going to double through. And that's a great flop for her.
Did anyone fold a 7?
She's asking to have anyone folded a 7, as if she isn't favourite enough. 92% to win this hand. Make that 100%.
Just to put the knife in the back of Persson. Wow.
A full house for Annette Obrestad, and that is a massive pot. Magnus Persson thought she was at it, but nothing could be further from the truth.
I know. It feels awesome. I mean, I never expected to get this far. It's just been a dream so far. I know that the players at my table like to play a lot of pots, so it can be pretty ugly if I get involved too much, because I like to win the pots I'm involved in, so I might bluff off my stack maybe if I try to do something.
Blinds up 10 and 20,000, a running ante of 3,000, and that is obviously bad news for Magnus Persson. He's got to push with anything. King 10, actually not a bad hand. But look at this. Johannes Korsar has got a bigger one. Ace Queen. And he calls.
Oh, he only flat calls with ace queen right there. I'm probably going to make a re-raise and try to isolate my opponent.
What a laydown of the ace-jack by Oyvind Rissam.
It was a pretty tight fold, and look at this. Now it looks like it was a good fold. And Tabatabai wakes up with kings again. Now he's got to decide, how can I extract more chips out of Corser as well?
Persson already all in.
And he makes the raise. And Corser with an auto fold. Wow. Lays ace queen down so quick, he must have recognized the strength of Tabatabai.
As we get closer to the big money, we're seeing people taking no risks, even with ace queen and ace jack.
I think also it was a factor that Tabatabai put the money in so quick against an all-in player.
But look, there is the ace. Rissam and Korsar would have shot in front of those kings.
Corser's got to be a little sick about folding that hand, but Persson's the sickest one of all.
The Swede exiting in 7th place.
I got a lot of pretty good hands in the early stages of the final table, and it didn't go my way. But I'm pleased, quite pleased anyway. I'm not pleased at all with today's game, but totally, I guess I'm pleased.
We are down to 6. Matthew McCulloch from the United States stares down at an 8 and another 8. What will he do with his snowmen?
Open it for a raise is what I'm guessing he's going to do. And he does.
Gets rid of Korsar. We haven't seen a lot of Øyvind Rissam at this final table. He's found a pair, but it is the lowliest of the lot.
Now, the thing about this pair in particular is you're not happy with any flop unless it contains a deuce. So it's really a tough hand to play, and I don't blame him for folding it.
Round to our chip leader, John Tabatabai, as the Dolly Parton hand gets rid of it. Annette Obrestad gets out of the way, so just Dominic Kay. And what has he found? Pocket sixes.
Yep, he could get in trouble with a short stack here. Yep. And he gets called quick as well. And he figured to be in trouble the second he got a call that quickly, and he is.
He'd have been hoping for ace-king. As it is, he's dominated. Well, we've seen the bag go on before, and it came off last time. Can he get lucky this time?
And the window produces an 8, but he does have a gut shot straight draw.
Now he needs one of those lucky 7s to get him out of trouble.
Dominic's not totally dead.
Matthew McCulloch stands up as well, but he's not in trouble.
Turn card was a deuce. Now he's
Dominic Kay could be leaving us unless he hits a 7. And no miracles on the river. We lose Dominic Kay, the Englishman, out in 6th place.
And just like that, we're down to the 5 people that have a shot to win the coveted World Series of Poker bracelet.
I can't complain. I got in for free and I've won a bit of money. So I think it's around the 100 and something, whatever. So whatever it is, it sounds good.
Dominic, I'm sure your bank manager will be interested to know that it's just over £152,000. As for the rest, Tabatabai leads, McCulloch second.
And Corser left as the short stack here at this table.
He is in the big blind. Action round to Øyvind Rissam from Norway. He's reaching for a raise. And John Tabatabai, our chip leader, now with a decision to make. He has a pocket pair, makes the call.
And these hand values really go up now that we're so short-handed.
Annette folds from the button. And McCulloch from the small blind makes the call.
I'm all in.
And our short stack announces all in.
And Corser putting the pressure on these guys to make the call. It's quite a big raise.
Over 400,000 chips. And even to our leader, John Tabatabai, that's not chump change. Matthew McCulloch and Korsar wondering what's going to happen. Well, now Tabatabai has decided, I'm going to make a stand. McCulloch gets out of the way with his rags.
So had a big hand.
And we're going to have a race.
All right. Heads up, players all in.
And this is probably best case scenario for Korsar with King-Jack offsuit. He's actually got a coin toss with all that extra dead money in there.
Good luck, man.
Kind of a coin flip here.
And a show of good sportsmanship. Oh, and the 6 on the flop is the first nail in Johannes Korser's coffin.
Kings and jacks, no use now. He'll need running cards for a straight. And that's it. This hand is over. We lose Johannes Korsar. Knocked out by John Tabatabai.
There was a lot of money in the pot, and I think it's worth the move with so much money in the pot. John Tabatabai, I think, is the winner.
John, the only Brit left, also the crowd favourite.
it's so hard just watching and just playing every hand with him. It's really difficult.
See, with John, he's so aggressive. We never actually know what he's actually got ourselves, but we're sitting there trying to work it out all the time. It's actually more nervous for us.
You never get a rest. You're in every hand with him. I mean, a lot of the players, they kind of their fans are sat back and they get lots of rest in between because they only play one in every 10 hands. But John's in every hand, so it's so nerve-wracking.
And when you play a lot of hands, you're going to have a lot of volatility.
Annette has been relatively quiet by her standards and nothing to get noisy about with a 5-deuce. Matthew McCulloch, on the other hand, will be striking up the band. He's found aces.
And now he's got to decide, how can I extract the most chips out of these players by playing this hand? Probably by opening up with a raise is a good start.
That's what he does, making the pot just over 100,000, and Øyvind Rissam unfortunate enough to have an underpair to those aces.
And four-handed, these hand values go up. These nines right now look like kings.
Øyvind does re-raise.
And instantly McCulloch goes all in and puts Rissam to a tough decision.
The crowd looking on anxiously. That's Matthew's girlfriend at the back. He's not too worried with his aces. But Øyvind Rissam has hung on and hung on. And now he's got to decide, are my nines good enough?
And he really has to figure out, am I in a coin flip situation against two overcards?
I have no idea what to do.
I think he's telling the truth there. I think he's really confused. He's got to lay this hand down, but it's a really hard hand to lay down. I might have to call this myself.
All right.
He makes the call, and now he will see the awful news.
And unfortunately, Rissam listened to my advice.
That was his first error. Let's see whether he can get away with it. He needs one more 9. He's now got a straight draw. A 6 would get him out of trouble.
Not a bad flop at all for Rissam.
Matthew McCulloch certainly being put through the ringer with these aces.
6 or a 9 for Rissam.
That card changes nothing. He still has 6 outs.
And Rissam's tournament life on the line. And no help. And he goes out in 4th place. And we're left with 3 players vying for the title of World Series of Poker Europe champion.
I can't complain about this result. It was way more than I expected. And my friend John, I think he'll go on and win it. He has a very aggressive style, and I think he's going to do it.
John Tabatabai certainly in the box seat right now with 3.5 million chips, but neither Annette or Matthew is out of this yet.
I'm so excited for him. I always knew that he was a fabulous poker player, but I had no idea he was this fantastic. Before he had qualified for this tournament, he told me, he's like, one day I will get enough money to be able to enter one of these World Series of Poker events, and a month later he qualifies for this. So he's so excited.
And he should be excited. He's guaranteed to win at least 390,000 pounds.
That would certainly get my heart beating a little bit faster. Let's see what Jack Queen does for Annette Obrestad. Not bad cards, 3-handed. And she raises.
As she should from the button with that hand.
62.
Call. Matthew McCulloch calls with a suited King 9. And John Tabatabai stares down at a genuine monster hand.
And he is on a hot streak. He wakes up with another big pair. He's definitely going to have to re-raise right here, try to build a big pot.
And that is what he has done.
I'm all in.
Oh, and Annette Obrestad moves all in and gets called instantly. She's got to hate her hand. He calls so quickly, she can't be ahead.
Jack of diamonds, jack of clubs.
Annette has been living aggressively all week long, and the crowd now see that she's in big trouble.
And both these players have been playing so aggressive, that's what brought this call out.
Not a good flop for Annette. She'll need running spades, a queen to win it, or a straight in the middle to chop. And now it has to be a queen. Only 3 outs, or she's out.
She could be a victim of her own aggression.
John can barely look. Annette may have her eyes closed behind those sunglasses. But she'll want to open them now. She has hit the miracle queen.
Luck be a lady tonight.
Sickener for John Tabatabai. A huge favourite going to that river.
And that's going to take a little while to digest exactly what just happened.
That's the first time we've seen Annette smile all week.
Yeah, Annette. Hey, I want those.
That's exactly what you're getting.
Yeah, I followed her on the internet last night, so when she made it to the table, I just had to order the tickets and come over. So I came this morning. She didn't know I was coming. It's just so exciting to follow her. Oh, it's painful. I almost had a heart attack last night. At least it felt so. It would be amazing. She would be so happy to have the bracelet. That's #1 goal, I guess.
And that is the heart of a champion when you want the bracelet more than you want the £1 million. Wow.
Especially from an 18-year-old. Tabatabai raising with the A6. A Jack 8 in front of Matthew McCulloch. Will he defend his big blind? He will.
And at this point, you're going to see a lot of defending.
Matthew will need to hit a card, and he has done straight away to go in front.
And Tabatabai does catch a piece of this flop too.
Middle pair with an ace kicker for the Welshman, and that is good enough.
Raise. 350.
And McCulloch now re-raises 350,000. A tough decision on to John Tabatabai.
John's going to re-raise.
Oh my gosh, and Tabatabai makes another re-raise, and McCulloch pushes all in. Now Tabatabai is pot committed, he's got a call. And he does.
Yeah, cool.
All in for Matthew. John's going to make the call.
Matthew McCulloch at risk for his tournament life. He is ahead now. He just needs to dodge an ace, a 6, or running clubs.
6 of spades. He has middle pair of sixes.
And a misstep for Tabatabai. He's played aggressive all day long. Nothing's new now. Oh my gosh! It wasn't a misstep at all. He just knew the ace was coming, I guess.
That water must taste like ashes to McCulloch. He needs to hit one of 2 remaining jacks to stay in the tournament. And that is not one of them. He is out in third.
You outplayed me there.
John Tabatabai says you outplayed me there. It's been a great week for Matthew McCulloch. He knocked out Phil Hellmuth. He knocked out Gus Hansen. And the anaesthetist from the United States of America is going to walk away with nearly £400,000.
Third place is a nice place. I'm very happy with the way I played. I had a great time. The event's been fantastic. I'd love to see a bracelet on my wrist. I'll come back next year and try it again. Whatever style of aggression he's using has been working for him, so I picked John.
As if our 2 remaining players won't be nervous enough, here comes the £1 million first prize. No shotguns, this is England. Just some remember that birthday. We're heads up, it's the Norwegian Annette Obrestad against the Welshman John Tabatabai. Robert, you've been at a World Series final table. Does that heap of money make a difference?
As if the money isn't enough pressure, they put the bracelet on top of the money. You've got to look at both of them and still play your best.
2 young players. This will be a new experience to them. Queen Jack for Annette, a hand she got very lucky with earlier to stay in the tournament against John Tabatabai.
And interesting enough, she just flat calls with the same hand she raised with earlier.
With a 6-10 suited, John says we'll see 3 in the middle. And look at that, Annette has flopped a Broadway straight, and John's hit a piece of it.
She's now trying to extract anything she can out of John Tabatabai.
And having been so loose, she can get paid off. John giving her a gimlet gaze. And that's a card that's going to get him into a heap of trouble.
He's got to believe he's got the best hand now. This is really a tough spot for Tabatabai.
He would need to make quads or a full house to get away from it if the money goes in. But he's keeping it quite small. Annette is going to count out a raise here.
She's playing very metered, very intentional, as if she might be on a bluff. And now John Tabatabai has to deduce, why did she not raise pre-flop if she had a hand that contained these types of cards in them? A Queen Jack, an Ace 10, a King 10. There's only a few hands that beat his. Why didn't she raise pre-flop? This is a tough, tough decision for him, and I don't think he's going to be able to get away from this hand. He flat calls. He's going to need a 6, a 10, an Ace, or a King to take the lead here.
Another diamond puts a flush out there. That might save him just a little bit of money if he thought Annette was on a draw.
And he tries to put a blocking bet out there to keep Annette from raising. Unfortunately for John, Annette's a really aggressive player. She might sniff right through this.
That flush, of course, may chill her veins a little. Apparently not. Over the top.
And she made a perfect raise, prices him in, makes it look like a value bet, but yet there's so much money in the pot. This is so hard to lay this hand down in this situation. Especially when you've got 2 of the most aggressive players in the entire tournament now playing heads up. It's a tough, tough decision.
John really deep in the tank now. There are plenty of hands that beat his trip 10s. Could he live with himself if he threw it away?
Everything tells me that I'm beat. But, as you know way too well, I can't fold. How much?
450. 450,000 more.
After that speech, Annette knows he hasn't got the flush.
I'm guessing you got Queen Jack, but not cool.
Cool. All right, John, make a call. Queen Jack for an ace high straight.
And even after calling out Annette's exact hand, he still paid her off. Sometimes you just gotta trust your gut instincts.
Annette stacking John's chips. She is now our chip leader. And the crowd know that with 2 such young, aggressive players, this could kick off at any time.
They're definitely both going to get involved in a lot of hands, that's for sure.
On the button with connectors, Tabatabai makes the call. And look at this, Annette's woken up with an overpair. 7s.
She'll definitely take an aggressive stand with those. She makes a raise.
100,000 more over to the Welshman. Decides to see a flop. $250,000 and some in the middle.
Wow, what a flop.
2 pairs for Tabata Bai. Top set for Annette Obrestad.
And I don't think there's any way that John Tabata Bai can get away from this hand without at least losing some chips.
Remember, another 5 or 6 would give Annette a bigger full house. He needs running 6s, running 5s, or a straight to chop this.
And right now it has to look like Tabata Bai has the best hand. He has to feel like he has the best hand. I don't think he can just call here. I think he's going to have to raise.
If you enter a pot with 5-6 and you make 2 pairs, you've got to be happy. And the chips do go in.
And John Tabata Bai has to believe he has the best hand. Annette Obrestad could easily just have an overpair, overcards, or a flush draw.
I'm all in.
Oh my gosh, and she puts him to a decision for his tournament life.
The crowd stand up. They know that if John calls and loses, we have a winner.
I call.
And he calls. But he's not going to like what he sees.
Only running cards for a straight to chop this, or unlikely quad 6s or quad 5s to win it. It's going to keep John Tabata Bai in this tournament.
And it's over right there on the turn.
River is
This is what it's about, baby.
So it's over. A week of the most high-rolling poker Europe has ever seen. It had glamour, it had guts, it had bad haircuts and bad beats.
You just have to.
We were entertained.
I come back next year.
We were enthralled. We shared some low moments and some high ones. The best in the business came to London, and they did not disappoint, playing the game with style, whether the cards brought bad luck or a slice of good fortune.
Let's go!
This has been the World Series of Poker Europe, presented by Betfair.com.
Come on!